Today we're digging into Borregaard, a really fascinating company. It's been on this quiet 30-year journey, transforming itself from a basic commodity business into a genuine high-tech powerhouse. From an investor's point of view, this is a story all about specialization, resilience, and building some truly unique competitive advantages. So let's get into how they actually pulled it off.
It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But this is exactly what Borregaard does every single day. They take one of the oldest raw materials out there, wood, and they turn it into key ingredients for some of the most advanced products on the market. This amazing transformation, well, that's the absolute core of the investment story we're going to unpack.
So the big question is, how did they do it? Look, this wasn't some overnight pivot. This was a very deliberate, very strategic shift away from the super volatile world of paper and pulp and into the high-margin, high-tech world of biochemicals.
Yeah, this wasn't a sudden change of heart. We're talking about a 30-year-long strategic journey. Just think about the discipline that takes. Management made a conscious choice to steer the ship away from those unpredictable boom and bust cycles you see in the pulp industry. Instead, they decided to double down on their deep expertise in wood chemistry. And that long-term vision is really the foundation of the company we see today.
Now, the engine that powers this entire strategy is something they call the integrated biorefinery. And it's not just a factory, it's the very foundation of the company's competitive advantage, its moat.
So what is it exactly? Well, think of it as a facility that uses literally every single part of the tree. Nothing goes to waste. In fact, an incredible 94% of the wood that goes in comes out as either a commercial product or as energy to power the whole process. This kind of efficiency, that's your first big clue to Borregaard's financial strength.
So here's how it works in practice. Borregaard basically unlocks the three core building blocks of wood. The fibers, they become specialty cellulose for things in food and pharma. The sugars get turned into bioethanol. But the magic, the real secret sauce, is in the lignin. This stuff is used to create advanced biopolymers and the world's only wood-based vanillin. It's pretty amazing.
And this quote right here, it gets to the heart of the company's genius, this flywheel effect. See, lignin is just a co-product from making specialty cellulose. A normal pulp mill, they might just burn it for a little bit of energy. But Borregaard, they use it as the super cost-advantaged raw material for their highest margin business. Any competitor would have to build their own pulp mill just to get their hands on this stuff. It creates this closed-loop system that is just incredibly difficult to copy.
Okay, so we've got this unique model, but how does that actually translate into a strong, defensible business that an investor can really get behind? Well, the proof, as always, is in the numbers.
The company is really split into three main segments. You've got biomaterials, which is where they make the specialty cellulose. Fine chemicals produces the bioethanol. But look at BioSolutions. It makes up 55% of the revenue. This is the part of the business that uses that special lignin. It's the company's crown jewel, and it's the primary engine driving its profits.
This chart tells the story perfectly. You can see the BioSolutions segment, the crown jewel, has a powerful 26% EBITDA margin. Meanwhile, the biomaterials segment, which is a bit more exposed to commodity prices, really felt the pressure from high wood costs, with its margin getting squeezed down to 16.6%. So here's the key takeaway. The high-margin business is more than strong enough to carry the company through tough times.
And it's not just a stable business, it's also growing. A compound annual growth rate of 9.4% since 2020. That's pretty impressive for an industrial company. It shows there's consistent, strong demand for their specialized products, even when the global economy is facing some serious headwinds.
Now, you could argue this metric is even more important than just revenue growth. Value creation per employee tells you how much more profitable the business is becoming over time. The fact that it's more than tripled in 15 years, that's the ultimate proof that this whole shift to specialized, high-value products is really paying off. They're simply making more money with the people and assets they already have.
So all these things combine to create a really formidable moat. It all starts with proprietary tech that literally no one else has. That tech creates products that get locked into customer supply chains, which means it's a huge pain for them to switch. And all of that is supported by an integrated supply chain that competitors just can't replicate, letting Borregaard dominate these small, niche global markets. Each one of these pillars just reinforces the others.
Of course, no investment is a sure thing. So to get the complete picture, we have to take a hard look at the challenges and risks that Borregaard is facing right now. So for investors, the bull and bear cases are both pretty compelling. The bear case is clear. Input costs are a major pressure point.
The price of wood, their main raw material, shot up 24% in 2024 alone. Ouch. And of course, a global recession would definitely hit demand for markets like construction. But the bull case is just as strong. Key competitors have actually closed down plants recently, which tightens up the market and gives Borregaard more pricing power. And hey, every new green regulation is basically a structural tailwind for their entire bio-based product line.
All right, so you've got this powerful business model on one hand and some clear risks on the other. How does the market actually value this company? And what's the final takeaway for someone looking at this as an investment?
So if you look at his valuation, Borregaard is definitely not a cheap stock. It trades at a big premium to old-school pulp and paper companies like Sappi. But notice this, its EV to EBITDA multiple is right in line with specialty chemical companies like Ingevity. So the market isn't looking at Borregaard as just a wood company, it's valuing it as a high-quality, specialized technology business.
And right here, this is the ultimate justification for that premium valuation. A 17.1% return on capital employed. For an investor, this number is critical. It proves that management isn't just running a business, they are exceptionally good at allocating capital. They consistently generate high profits from their investments, and they're easily beating their own long-term targets. That is a sign of a very well-run company.
So this leaves every potential investor with a really crucial question to ask themselves. At today's price, are you just buying a resilient, high-quality company, or are you actually getting a free call option on the entire future of the bioeconomy? The answer to that question is probably going to determine how you see this investment.